Everyone, welcome to another office hours from the Kairos team. Today is June 16th, and we want to go through some updates of what the team has been working on, some things that are coming up, whether it is on the roadmap or events, and then we're going to, if we still have time, we're addressing some questions in the discussions forum. So, hi guys.
Hello, hi Mauro, hi Tore.
Amen.
All right. I don't know, big changes in. We were not able to uh, do office hours the past 2 weeks. We had some time off in the team. Big changes. Kairos init is at its 5.0 release, basically. The what is it now called? Upgrade controller? No.
Yeah, no, the Kairos operator. I was looking for the link. There you are. Um, I'm not sure how we share in the video. Maybe we should share the screen. I don't think the
Maybe you
chat
should share
survives.
it because you can explain better what's
Yep,
going on in that
true,
one.
true, true. Let me try that. Uh, Share screen. All right, you should see my screen and lots of tabs.
Yeah,
I'm not
the same.
closing them now. Have to continue tomorrow. Okay. Here it is. So, I think we discussed in the last one that we wanted, maybe not, but anyway, uh, we had in our minds for a long time, and we have planned to create an operator for Kairos to simplify the various Kairos operations, like upgrading nodes or resetting them, or maybe even changing the cloud in it and the config. It wasn't planned for now exactly, but for various reasons we decided to jump into it now. Um, so the first iteration simply replaces what we used to have up to now, which was the system upgrade controller. If someone wants to know, we were using this tool here. So there's a controller running, and you apply a CRD called the plan, and there you can run arbitrary scripts, I would say, with privileged access to the file system of the node and such. So you could even access devices to do reset, and that's how we suggested upgrading Kairos through Kubernetes up to now. But this didn't have any Kairos specific logic in it. um, so it wasn't the best UX, because when you know you're upgrading Kairos, you can be a lot more specific and having more sane language. Like your CRD could look more Kairos specific and make more sense. Um, so we did the first implementation of the Kairos operator. This is the URL. So yeah, you see the low version there doesn't show too much confidence yet because it's the first release, but it's working. We try to make the README describe both how to use it and a little bit on how it works behind the scenes. You can find that here. It's by no means perfect, but it's still the first iteration, so we will improve the docs and even some more examples. But you can already see what it looks like. So this is so basically I don't want to read the whole README now, but it introduces two CRDs. This is the very basic one, the node operation, uh, which is the equivalent of a plan where you run arbitrary scripts. You can target specific nodes. The nodes automatically, the operator when deployed, it finds the nodes, and if they're Kairos nodes, they're labeled as such. So you can use this label here to target only Kairos nodes. For example, when you're upgrading Kairos. Various options on where to mount the host path, whether you cordon the node or drain it before you run the script, things like that, concurrency as well, and whether you want to stop on failure. These last two are kind of important because you can implement canary upgrades with them, which we actually do with the more high-level resource, the node upgrade, which is a wrapper around a specific node op. So what this does when it gets created is it defines a node operation, the above resource, of a specific kind with a specific script that upgrades Kairos. This is why this is smaller, because you don't have to define so many things. It knows what script to run and things like that. You only define these options here. Some of them are commented out because they are optional. Even these are optional. They have defaults. But yeah, you have to define which image you want to upgrade to. Well, upgrade always sounds as if you're going to some higher version, but it doesn't have to be so. You can even downgrade if the lower version would work, of course, with your config and all, right? You get a node selector because you may want to target only master nodes or just Kairos nodes if you have a hybrid cluster, things like that. You can also implement canary upgrades by saying just do one by one, concurrency one, and stop if something fails. Or you can do in batches. The operator will sort the nodes with masters first, so masters will get upgraded first, respecting, of course, concurrency. So if you have 10 masters but you say concurrency 1, you get them one by one. If you say concurrency 10 but you have 5 masters, you'll get 5 masters and 5 um, worker nodes. So yeah, I don't want to go into more detail than that. This is the first iteration. It's nice if people can try that out and let us know what they think. It's completely separate of Kairos itself. It doesn't have to be on a specific Kairos version. That's why it's not released with Kairos. We didn't wait for a release. You just follow the instructions here. You kubectl will apply that, and then you apply a node op or a node op upgrade and check what happens. Yeah, I think
Nice.
that's it.
What else has happened? I've been working on adding some features to the Aurora boot. I could show that quickly.
Yeah,
So
that would be a nice demo. Yeah.
we're working on making Aurora boot a little bit more accessible, we could say. So we're creating this GUI. Also, don't mind the many tabs. And then basically, this is how it's looking now. All these features we already had. So like with anything, you can select from which base image you start.
Maybe
You're going to create. Yeah.
sorry, should we maybe explain a bit in case someone hasn't been up
Yeah.
to date with what Aurora Boot is, what this is? Like,
Makes sense, yeah. Basically, the factory will be the way in which you can create Kairos images or Kairosified images, because at the end of the day, they can start from your own images or from a plain Ubuntu, Fedora, or whatever of the different distributions that we manage. And Aurora Boot is kind of like the CLI version so far of generating those images. And then from within Aurora Boot, we are producing this web interface to make it more user-friendly. And ideally, we also want to provide some sort of service that it's easy to build images on. So these are the first steps for that. And again, you can create your images based on any of these default images or your own images. Then you can create for different architectures, because for certain architectures, we also have the option of boards like Raspberry Pi, Nginx, Orin. You can also, these were already there, but mentioning still, you can select between core or standard, core being all the default functionality from Kairos, immutable, AB upgrades, etc., and standard coming with Kubernetes and HVPN. Then if you select the standard version, you can choose between K3s and K0s. Then you have to select a release of these two, or say latest to get the latest. You have to put your own version. And the idea with this is that you will have your own cadence, right? Like we have, for example, the latest release of Kairos is 3.4.3 or something like that. And but you might have your own cadence. Either you adapt to us and you say, okay, mine is going to be called 343, I don't know, internal one, or you go through your own versions, 010, 011, etc. And that should lose the fear, I think, a bit of producing your own artifacts. Then this is what's new. You can add your own configuration already when creating the image. This is very useful so you're able to paste here your own cloud config. And this is very useful if you want to produce already a final product, so to speak. So you're going to burn this image into some device, and it's just going to spin up somewhere, and it will already come with everything configured. There's no need for installation process, so to speak, which is already what happens for boards, because there's no installation process there. But just to give you an idea. And the other thing that we added is related to lately Dimitris had added the cloud images. So now here you can also select those cloud images, or even which of the existing artifacts that you wanted to make. So once you do that, you will get, this is pretty much the same, but just to finish this, you get in which part of the process of the generation of the image you are until it is done. Then you get the different downloads that you can from this image that you just produced, and that's pretty much it.
I'm thinking whether we should comment a bit, because now there's a text box for the config. People
Yeah.
may wonder. So in the config, for example, you can put your user password, but usually that doesn't sound like a good thing to hard code passwords in there. So other ways you can provide cloud configs are if you're, for example, producing an image for a cloud provider like AWS, you can always feed additional config through the user data. There's a field when you create a VM, for example, in EC2 and the other cloud providers, they'll have a way to provide user data. You can maybe put it there so you don't hard code it on the image. You can chain load configs if you have your own server, and you can serve another config from there, maybe even temporarily during installation, for example. Um, you can refer to another config from your config and it will be downloaded. So yeah, you can combine any way you want, so you don't have to store things. So you get to decide which parts you want to be part of the image for all the machines you're going to create, and which parts are dynamic, which you provide through some other means, right?
You don't even have to give access to the user, right? Like it could be the final product, and you don't need to debug on production, so to speak. If it is broken, then either you can do something via Kubernetes, like you were showing with the upgrades, or it gets replaced, the whole device or something like that, depending on your approach, I guess, to operations.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What else do we have?
We talk about
think,
events.
yeah.
So tomorrow. Okay, it's a bit strange with time zones. So on Tuesday, Tokyo time zone, we have William in Kubecon Japan. I don't remember the exact hours. And we're also joining, the three of us here, Mauro, Ettore, and me, will be in Bologna next week. Workshop is
on Monday.
Monday, right? Yeah.
And then talk on Tuesday, or just hang out and networking, show up, tell us what you like or dislike of Kairos.
Remember our faces if you see us walking around. Just stop us and talk to us.
Yeah. Yeah, that covers at least the things coming this weekend, next week.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we're probably not doing office hours next week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We still have another 10 minutes. Not sure if we want to jump on some discussions. Maybe one thing to mention is that we are going to try to. So now we have the factory is a web application. The installer is a web application. And so we're gonna try to come up with components that are shareable across applications. This is gonna stay small deliberately. And so if there are any suggestions by the community of what we should do, please go ahead. But otherwise, we have chosen already on HTMX and Alpine JS. We think that these two together can produce functionality for a simple application. So we don't have a lot of state in our applications and things like this. So we don't really need something like React, we believe. Feel free to prove us wrong. And yeah, so that should be nice, and it could even be applied to something like the documentation or other areas. That's the cool thing, I think, of those components. We'll see.
And just to justify the introduction of a framework, it's not only what you saw here in this demo, but there are some issues with this page already that when you refresh, for example, you no longer have a way to see the logs or access the downloaded files, although the job is still running in the background. So there is technically a way to get it back, or it's just not implemented yet. So we're going to add more components in the page. So you see your previous jobs, maybe even how many workers you have running. Um, at some point, maybe even cast results. Let's say you make your selections, right? And it so happens that it's the exact same selections you tried yesterday, but you don't remember it. It doesn't have to rebuild the whole thing because you have it cast. So we're going to be adding features like that, and the front-end code has started becoming complex. So yeah, it's a good time to introduce something to tidy up.
Cool.
Maybe we don't have enough time to go through discussions, but I think we tried to reply this morning. What we can maybe talk about is what we planned for this sprint.
Yeah.
Which I can even share my screen and show the board. Wait, but I think it's rather simple. So we're sticking to what we were doing. We have a workshop, like we said, in Bologna next week, where we'll be showing uh, how to use Kamaji with Kairos, two open source projects. The result of this is going to be a repository which is currently private because we're not done with it. I don't know which tab it is now. But anyway, the end result we're going to publish probably in some form, either in our documentation, maybe even the repo itself. But yeah, for now we're preparing it for the workshop, so there is quite some work to happen here, but everybody will benefit from it when we are done, because we will share the results. It's a really interesting combination. We also have some reviews to do on things we worked on previously, and some requests from the community, from people. And this week we didn't have much more time with the workshop, and also we just added some bugs to have a look at them. We always try to push the reported bugs and questions from people outside the team. We just not always make it, so we just push them here, and hopefully someone has enough time to pick them up and reply. So that's why you see them there. And I think that's what we planned, right? No big things for this week, probably.
No. Maybe we can touch on the plans on the operator, right? What people can expect next time of the operator, right?
Do you want to take that, Ettore?
No, it's okay. Yeah,
You're gonna do it as well, right? Whatever you promise, you implement.
Yeah, I didn't want to take the spot from you, but yeah, I mean the plan on the operator is to streamline the operation with Kairos we have, also like also resets or not, for instance, or or just pushing even additional configuration to nodes. So all the operations that typically you would have done with the custom system upgrade controller plans, it could be much more streamlined now with the operator. So this is the short-term future we have in mind there. So to basically come out with a very much clear documentation on how you can do this kind of operation. Because right now, we have a little bit of documentation which is scattered around to do this kind of thing with system upgrade controller. But again, it's heavily scattered in the docs. You will find that only when you need it, maybe. So the plan is to make this a little bit more consistent with the operator. And that is the base layer to allow us also to think about an abstraction layer on CAPI support. So we will use the Kairos operator as a foundation. So we'll have a CAPI provider that under the hood uses the Kairos operator at the end of the day for doing the operation. Of course, there won't be a one-to-one mapping with all the features we have. However, we will try to make the much more similar feature set that how they can translate to the Kairos. So this is the high level plan we have, and of course, don't be scared about this, because if you are using system upgrade controller, it will be the same using the Kairos operator. As this was showing, the CRDs that are basically doing the functionally speaking, they're doing the same thing, so they are kind of backward compatible. So we are having this layer of backward compatibility, so you can jump on using the Kairos operator.
Maybe a heads up is that while looking, because I was looking at both projects trying to keep backwards compatibility kind of, the system upgrade controller allowed you to dive into the details of the created job, if I recall correctly, job, maybe other resources. So you could just define the whole thing in there. We don't do that because I've never seen anybody in the Kairos context doing that. And I really believe that you don't really want to know what the job looks like. Usually the narrative is, I want to upgrade Kairos to that image. Mm-hmm. So by keeping it Kairos specific, we didn't implement all the features from the more generic system upgrade controller, but we did improve on some of them, like the way you create, if you create a script, for example, in system upgrade controller, your scripts had to be idempotent, because after reboot, the job gets killed, another pod comes up, and it has to run the script again. So if it's idempotent, it exits with 0, all happy, right? You also had some rogue pods staying around for a while. Yeah, in our case, we don't do it like that, so it's cleaner. You have a separate reboot pod, and all pods, so your job succeeds on the first try, of course, if it exits successfully, and then the reboot pod after reboot is idempotent because we make it so, right? We create, the operator creates the reboot pod, so it's idempotent, and it comes back nicely and complete. So you see clean jobs, clean pods, everything after your reboot, nothing failing, nothing pending or dangling there. So yeah, we did improve on some things, but some features of the system upgrade controller were intentionally not implemented.
Expect a talk in some KCV at some point.
Yeah, or a demo video, actually, because we should really try to show how it works. So yeah, that's a promise there. Coming soon.
Yes.
And we are right on time, I think, right?
Well, it depends how you look at it. I think it's an hour that we have scheduled, but generally half an hour feels enough. Or we can just change the schedule. Cool. All right, then, yeah, feel free to reach out either through comments here in the YouTube recording, through the CNCF Slack. There's a Kairos channel where you can reach out. You can also talk to us in the GitHub discussions, or open an issue, or even better, a pull request, right, on the github.com/kairos-io. Yeah, so looking forward to hear your thoughts anywhere in these channels. Have a nice day, everyone.
You too.
Bye. See you. Bye-bye.